Well, let's turn to the United States now, where Donald Trump has vowed to hold China accountable for the COVID-19 outbreak at his latest White House news briefing. President Trump says he's not happy with China and believes that the virus could have been stopped at source.
There are a lot of ways you can hold them accountable. We're doing very serious investigations, as you probably know, and we are not happy with China. We are not happy with that whole situation, because we believe it could have been stopped at the source, it could have been stopped quickly, and it wouldn't have spread all over the world, and we think that should have happened.
Well, it's not the first time the president has played the blame game in his briefings, but how has his performance in this crisis affected his ratings? As you can see, I'm joined from California by Spencer Critchley, former comms advisor to Barack Obama during his 2008 and 2012 presidential campaigns. Spencer, really pleased to have you on the show this morning. Thank you so much for being with us. First things first, in terms of the polling, how is Donald Trump doing at the moment? What is the level of public satisfaction or indeed dissatisfaction with his handling of COVID-19?
I think that he's committing political suicide, and he seems to be unable to resist. Today's briefing was off after 2 whole days of self-discipline and restraint, and then it was on, then it was off, and then it was on again. The polls are drifting downwards, I think, as he pierces the last veils of mist surrounding the consciousness of his hardcore base. I believe he's at something like a 23% level of trust in what he says. More people than that say they would vote for him, but only about 23% of Americans, or about half of his base, say they trust the words coming out of his mouth.
Spencer, I just want to play some of the words that we heard from Donald Trump, not yesterday, not today, a couple of days ago, regarding, you'll have guessed it, disinfectant. Let's just have a little listen.
Right, and then I see the disinfectant, where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning? Because you see it gets on the lungs and it does a tremendous number of the lungs. So it'd be interesting to check that.
The president's response was that he was being sarcastic. Indeed, the latest we've heard from him is that he doesn't see why those words would have led anyone to have ingested disinfectant. How is this playing out in the press there?
Nobody believes it, of course. It's a blatant lie. He's relying on his previous record of success in getting away with blatant lies. This mystifies his opposition. It mystified me for quite a long time. I've actually, if you don't mind me plugging it, I'm just releasing a book right now called Patriots of Two Nations, which attempts to explain this. I actually think that coronavirus and the science behind it brings all of this to a head. And what we're really seeing is a crisis that's been brewing since the founding of the nation. And it's essentially 2 groups of people, one who embrace reason, the tradition of the Enlightenment, and one who never accepted it and want to live in a world of faith and trusting people, an individual person, rather than institutions like democracy. And I think that's really why Trump gets away with these incredible lies, because people have in effect sworn fealty to him. But I think that as we have, literally people dying because of his profound incompetence and unfitness, I think it's beginning to cut through even to his base, as I say.
Is there perhaps not, Spencer, something of a trapdoor through which Donald Trump can slip, in the sense that there's another dichotomy in US politics, and it's between those working in senior positions at the federal level and people working in senior positions at the state level? Donald Trump seems to have batted away an awful lot of criticism by saying, look, it's not my responsibility, it's theirs.
Well, this is utter nonsense. For Donald Trump to make any kind of philosophical or political argument is absurd on its face. He's attempting to make the Federalist argument, which has presumably been fed to him, but it makes no sense whatsoever. This is a national security crisis. This is why the response was located at the National Security Council until he tore that capability down shortly after he took office. And that's the same as arguing there's no reason to have a national military force. Instead, we should have 50 state militias, presumably, which is absurd. There are some situations where you need national coordination. And certainly, national defense is the rock bottom minimum justification for having a federal government. And we are trying to defend, or should be trying to defend, the people of the United States against a nationwide threat that does not respect the borders of 50 states.
Spencer Critchley, thank you so much for your perspective. We appreciate it. Do stay well.
My pleasure.